Okay, guys, this next video is going to touch on the topic of quantum mechanics and the modern thoughts about the atoms. So this is a very complex topic to try to cover in 5 minutes or even a brief lecture. Electrons do not exist inside the nucleus. Electrons are external to the nucleus, located in things called orbitals that you will have read about. And orbitals, as your book describes, are probability locations of where they are located. They are the space occupied by the electrons. And you can only have 2 electrons per orbital. That's an important fact to keep in mind. Okay, now, once we go beyond the idea of 2 electrons per orbital, we then come down to the fact that we need to talk about some components of the math. Now, there are all sorts of complicated equations associated with the multidimensional calculus associated with these orbitals and these electrons. But we're just going to go from the quantum mechanic math. We get 3 principal quantum numbers. And we have a 4th quantum number needed to describe a final property of electrons. Let's talk about those now. Okay, so the first, also called the primary shell primary quantum number, is symbolized with the letter N. The letter N, and now this is also sometimes called the primary energy level. Of the electron. The values or numeric values associated with N start at 1, the primary quantum energy level. Then you can go to 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Okay. The second quantum number that is discussed in the book and that we often talk about is called the angular momentum quantum number. It is symbolized with the letter lowercase cursive l. Values possible for an electron for L will be starting with 0, 1, 2, going on up, possible values, up to the N value associated with that electron minus 1. Okay, so I want to just mention this briefly. If the electron we're talking about has N equal to 3, then the possible L values for this electron would be 0, 1, and 2, because that 2 is the N minus 1 value. Okay, cool. Now, let's keep talking about L for a second longer. L is associated with what are called the subshells of the electron. This will tell you the 3D possible shapes of the orbitals. And therefore, depending upon the L value, we have specific subshell names associated with this. So L value, subshell symbol. There are only actually really 4 practical ones here. 0 is a subshell of S, 1 is P, 2 is D, and 3 is F. We're going to stop this lecture here and continue with the next one in a second.